trial for their commentary. One thing I do want to say is that I feel like the way that small media is treated is still pure trash, because Nick at Night has to redact the name of the victims in the trial. But I'm seeing major media cover the trial and they are not redacting the name of any of the victims. And I think that's bullcrap. So shout out to Nick at Night for doing her due diligence and going above and beyond to get the actual trial link to the live coverage and doing what she gotta do to get us all this information. So I'm gonna pretty much play some things to catch up and give commentary on, and then we'll get to the beginning of the trial.
Flag shoot! Who on me? Combination! What is combination?
The Christ conscious.
Who are you?
Angels of the Most High, divine angels of light.
Who am I?
The Honorable Master Teacher Natureboy, Commander-in-Chief of the Earth Plane, my highest self.
Who am I?
Queen Eliana, Commander-in-Chief of the Earth Plane, my highest self.
Where do you come from?
The highest frequency of the sun.
And what is your mission?
To collect the elite and debate the weak. Free flag shoot!
Ain't no Nature Boy, nigga. Nature Boy dead. He died on 3-3-2-2022, nigga. It's a new nigga in town. And his name is motherfucking 3 God.
All due respect to the Most High, 3 God, 1 God.
And you would think that if you consider yourself to be a god, you would be able to get yourself out of this situation. You would have been able to get yourself out of getting your home in Georgia raided, because that was a hot mess in itself. Weren't y'all raided in Mexico at one point too? Like, this has been a whole sham. I don't know how these people that took part in this alleged cult didn't see right through this bullcrap.
Got my threes in check. I go by the name 3 God. So you know, we prior as Nature Boy. Walk out! Walk out! Walk out! Walk out! Walk out! Walk out! Walk out!
A cult leader and his followers accused of violating quarantine.
After more than a year and a half, an accused cult leader
Forgot about the Hawaii shit. They got arrested in Hawaii, I think, for violating quarantine. They were doing some crazy shit in Mexico.
leader cult was developing an idea.
DeKalb police arrested Bishop at this home in Decatur, charging him with rape, false imprisonment, and 3 counts of sexually explicit transmission.
He's extremely loving, extremely forgiving. Literally wouldn't hurt a fly.
I can't stand you, my
It was given Stockholm syndrome.
I wish I could kill you. I swear to God, I wish I could kill you. I don't like you.
He's extreme.
He's loving, wouldn't hurt a fly, but yet
Extremely loving, extremely forgiving. Literally wouldn't hurt a fly.
I can't stand you, my nigga. I wish I could kill you. I swear to God, I wish I could kill you. I don't like you.
He's extremely loving, extremely forgiving. Literally wouldn't hurt a fly.
Okay.
See the attitude on her face?
Oh,
What? Ooh, that was a good
no, that was a good one.
Really not that bad. You really not that bad. I'm really treating you in like your position you're in. It's
I
for
think he
bad.
smacks her again too.
It's for that's the real
I
bitch.
think he smacks her again.
Work for me, y'all gonna work for me. Y'all all work for me. Y'all matter of fact, down on your knees. On
And
your
these fools would really get down on their fucking knees. Child, excuse my language. And bow down to this man. This man. That got flesh and bones and blood just like them.
Don't stand up around me, man. Don't stand over me. Ever stand over me. Yeah. Get down, bro. All the way down, bro. What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all? Don't stand around a tree like that. Don't ever stand around a tree like that. Oh, come help them. Get them out of my life. I dare you. I dare you get these people out of my life. Bro, come get these niggas right now. Call the cop. 3, get your shit. These people bother me. Nigga, they want the 3. They want the juice. They want the 3. They got to respect the 3. They worship the 3. They worship the 3 because I'm 3 God.
3 God?
most high.
Listen, fuck all that. Fuck all that. Listen. I'm the most high, 3 God. I got my 3s in check. Word? It go down like that. From Harlem to Jersey to Philly. Yeah. To the niggas behind the bars. The black man is God. The black man is God. The black man is God. I just want to know why y'all follow me, so people can hear it for themselves. Because a lot of people saying y'all brainwashed, A lot of people say y'all don't got minds of your own. A lot of people saying like, yo, these people he got them brainwashed.
All right.
I mean, if they weren't brainwashed, then what were they? Complete idiots?
Really buy to do whatever.
If they weren't brainwashed, then what were they?
We gonna handle this.
Child, this was fight night at the beach. He had these females, I want to call them hoes and bitches, but he had these females out on the beach fighting just to get his rocks off. And they actually did it. And she done got her lip bust open, and she think it's your badge of honor.
Guess what? They ain't no real niggas. We can track it back to the source. Okay? Y'all need to get together. If you find a real nigga, you need to get on board. If you lame, if you're a lame nigga, you want a nigga that don't got divine knowledge, so but I try to push you got divine knowledge.
A lot of us ain't humans. I'm a whole God. Like, I'm Jesus. I'm like Messiah. Like, and I have these powers that haven't even developed yet, you know?
Okay, child, you Jesus. I guess Jesus was in prison as well.
These people sitting here like this for free, bro. These people how much money you gave me, bro? At least like 30 bands right now. 30 bands, bro.
Bitch, come give me 30 bands right now. I'll, child. Bitch, you know how many pairs of sneakers I would buy?
And I'm dead serious. This nigga gave me 30 bands, bro. I was in Puerto Rico. The nigga just came and gave me the 30 bands. I'm like, okay, I don't know nobody else on this planet like me, bro. That can say that they're God. And they got real life worshipers in their life. Like literally, people don't understand. Like these women and people that come to me, they can really worship me, bro. They really link I'm God, bro, and I am God. And they know I'm God. And they souls belong to me, just like in the Bible. Jesus said, these sheep, no one can take them away from me because God has given to me. And it's like literally, y'all are doing the same thing, bro. Y'all follow me everywhere I go. Y'all won't even let me go out the room, bro.
So you're God, but you're yet referencing the Bible, but you're God. Makes so much sense. Not at all.
Y'all carry me upstairs to go to sleep. Bro, I don't gotta do nothing. I just say right now. I swear to God, right now, anything I want from this house, I get. Like if I sit in this chair, I'm like, take my shoes off.
This is just a real semi-brief recap. Then we're gonna get into the actual trial, the witnesses, the cult expert. We're just doing a quick recap of all the shenanigans that led up to, the house being raided in Georgia and him being arrested and charged with alleged, RAPE and all that other stuff.
Where did you get the name, the title, Three God? Where did that come from? And why are you calling yourself God now? Where did that come from?
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree.
Ghost. Come here.
I am three gods.
Come here.
I am from a distant constellation. I have hijacked the body of this being, and
The girl at the bottom is so comedy.
people, you
Or did he get?
But I need quality. I can't go for no wolf. Although I will help all, my kingdom will be androgynous.
Oh, this is when he says he's gonna allow, the homosexuals and the lesbians to be a part of the, the carbonation cult.
am chiefess. I am chief.
If y'all hit that thumbs up.
There will be no chiefess. Pull up now, immediately. On your knees. Where's everybody at? Where's everybody at? Where's everybody at? Who we laughing? Who we laughing?
I'm talking about the camera.
Bring him in. Who's laughing? Who's funny? You don't lie?
Shit, these fools on their knees bending down to you are what's funny, because this is ridiculous how they used to really carry on behind this man, calling himself a god, and all the while he's just a regular man, just like they are. just like I am. This is insane. Give me one moment. All right.
You didn't know I was broadcasting. He didn't know. Why? Why didn't he know?
It's in our group chat. So
Who were you laughing with? Who? You and Caliber were laughing with who?
Fun.
Who?
Fun.
Fun. Distracted by an outsider. Easily distracted. Those are glitches in the system. Remember the lady with the red dress? Yeah, all of you have those. One mind.
One dream.
One mind.
One dream.
One self. One mind.
One self.
One mind.
One self.
Unity. Common unity. We are selves. We will.
I'm telling y'all, he acting in a movie. He is acting.
The fact that he found this many willing adults to play along with him and to be a part of this cult and to bow down and worship him, take his shoes off, let him run through them and screw them left, right, sideways, upside down, and all around the world is just a complete mess.
Alright, so niggas act like following someone who you consider to be greater than you or a role model is just outlandish. If I want to make $1 million, I need to find a nigga that done made $1 million. If I want to be in shape, I need to find a nigga that's already in shape. I seen somebody that was doing what I wanted to do. I need to go where he is instead of running him, right? Don't that make sense? I don't understand how that following someone is ignorant. Everybody that knows anything has to have some type of a mentor, bro. Come on, man. And I don't understand how people can't see what we're doing here and how great it is. You know what I'm saying?
As you can see, these, but I now attention on, and those of you guys who are new.
All right, let's move on past this right here. All right, so I don't really care about what Rambo has to say, but 147. I should have had this video already set to the side. I wanted to play something. Oh, you know, it's actually on my community wall. Let me go to my community wall. That's where it is. I shared this last night. All right.
Now the trial for an accused cult leader charged with sexually assaulting.
What's his full name? Courtney Townsend. Okay. So the next clip I'm about to play is of Courtney Townsend, who is an ex-member of this alleged cult that was ran by Natureboy. You guys make sure y'all hit that thumbs up and share out the video. And shout out to Nick at Night once again.
If you are watching this after it is no longer live, you can also do a super sticker in the comment. For a little bit.
All right, here we go.
Look at her face.
You swear or affirm the testimony to the court to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Lawyer hand, state your name for the court.
Eligio, Bishop?
Courtney.
There we go. Okay. When did you first learn of him? Oh, man. During my spiritual journey, very early on, I had seen his videos after looking at Dr. Sebi. And he was talking about Dr. Sebi, and then.
Just lean forward a little bit so we
Oh,
can
yeah.
listen to the microphone, please.
Much better.
Much better. Thank you.
So you said Dr. Sebi? Is that right?
Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi. I was getting deep into veganism and being organic, and his video popped up where he was talking about that. I trailed back into other videos and found him talking about things I talk about, no one else does.
Okay. And that was Mr. Bishop that was talking about those things?
Yes.
When you say a while ago, we're talking a couple years, 5 years, if you just had to estimate about how long ago you first learned from him?
5.5 years.
Okay. And did that start just online?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did you begin communicating with Mr. Bishop?
Actually, yes, I ended up playing chess with him online while I was watching his videos, and he didn't notice me, but after that, not much personal. No.
Okay. At some point, well, I guess you said you were on this journey. What else was going on in your life at that point when you started finding the videos online?
Well, I was already, it was my birthday, 23, and I remember being very irritated with the fact that the world doesn't acknowledge nature in a certain way. And I was going through that certain things with my family. I've been living with my father since ever, but I used to spend weekends with him, things like that. No father figures around.
So you're telling me that your love of nature and the majority of the world throwing nature to the side is what sent you down this rabbit hole and got you to where you're at right now? Okay, girl.
And I was always looking for that, always. Brothers, friends, whatever. And, I went to this isolation phase, and I was sleeping on the floor in my room, didn't even want to use bed. We were going really deep into depression, just from learning more and more. The more I learned, the sadder I got. I didn't know there was another way to live. I never thought of leaving the country. Never imagined that you could live a nice life in Mexico, so seeing that was like a huge relief. When I saw his videos with him standing on the mountains, no clothes, speaking the knowledge that I taught, and I felt free. I felt like something, like the ceiling was removed, and I could breathe, and I was like, I can keep living my life happily, I can do something.
And is that what was appealing about the life that Mr. Bishop offered?
100%.
When did you leave home to go stay with him?
Well, I actually went and started my own tribe, which was a video he made where he recommended we do that. I did, naturally, actually didn't even plan it. I ended up going to Mexico from San Diego, California. So we just crossed right through the border in Mexico and he had a couple friends. And we were just gonna do our own thing, happy, super happy. Somebody ended up calling him while we were in the car, and he ended up asking what we have to offer. He ended up asking that my friends, they offered money and different things. I'm like, I got my music, I got my computer, I can make everyone help. And he's like, we want him, maybe that's what we need. Yeah, you're for sure, you can come. And I was like, that's the commander in chief of the Earth Planet. I would love to go. I would be honored.
Where were they located at this point?
They were actually in Blanket, Mexico. I had no idea though. I thought they were in Belize, or I didn't know.
And so did you at that point travel to Blanket?
Yes, so I went on Tijuana, and once we spoke with him, he had us go to various locations, and then we finally went to Blanket, and then he sent people to pick me and my friend Jacob up.
Okay. And where were they living or staying at this point?
There was a really nice couple acre property in Blanket, Mexico, top of the mountain.
Was it like a house? Were they in tents? Like what was the living
situation? It was a decent sized house with a lot of acres of land. I think 5, I could be wrong. But it was a lot of acres of land, mango trees, fruit trees, we set up tents wherever.
And when you arrived, did you have personal belongings like passport, currency, things of that nature with you?
Yes.
What happened to those items?
I wasn't leaving them behind. I brought them with me, and I just stored them in my backpack in an attic. After a couple months, it actually was all ruined from mold and things. But
and the name? Did you go by a different name in the group?
It was the same.
When you first met up with the group, how would you describe your relationship with Mr. Bishop?
I think I was frustrated with the group in general. At first, they weren't applying the knowledge that we were there apparently for. It's like they didn't know. It's like they were students. I thought I was going to be around a bunch of masters. Some of the guys were having a meeting, they were going to leave. I expressed my frustration of them not applying the same music that they rap, the same knowledge they rap about in their music. And I'm like, this is crazy. I thought you guys were them. And Eligio told me, he said, you're right. Don't worry, you are right. But they don't respect you yet. Be quiet and let me handle this. And I just sat there frustrated initially. I thought we had a good relationship at first, and I believe later on that night, he ended up going around calling me a vampire and saying I was just sucking up the energy around and really negative. Started telling people to stop talking to me, started telling people to stop engaging with me. We were at dinner, I remember. We were at dinner at Jade's, Cafe Jade in Blanket, Mexico. And I was getting along very well with everyone. He did not like that.
What were the sleeping arrangements in the group?
The men were separated from the women, unless they were paired together, which was off and on. The sleeping arrangements were either on the floor in the house together as a group. If we're sleeping inside, if we sleep outside, we all had our own cabela tents, very large tents, and we could share them with 4 to 8 people sometimes.
And
or we had our own personal tents.
okay. And who would decide, like, if y'all are sleeping in the house or in the tent that night? Like, where did that come from?
The group. We would collectively agree on what we wanted to do for the night sometimes.
Okay. What about other rules within the group? When you got there, did you learn rules?
To a degree. We were told.
Why am I sleeping outside if we have a whole house to sleep in? I understand all the being with nature bull crap, but why am I sleeping outside if there's a whole house to sleep in? I don't care what the group decided on. If I don't want to sleep outside, why am I sleeping outside for?
We would be following the laws of my job, which was not done. And we're also told that we were going to be by something called morals over desires, or MODs, which Eligio put together. And this was to keep us from doing things and taking our desires, if you will, or making sure that we made sacred movements with everything that we did.
So where did those rules within the group come from?
Well, there were rules, they just were never followed. He put them together as far as I'm concerned, and as we went throughout the years, we were always changing and manipulating these rules and when and where to use them, things like that.
And who was changing the rules?
Eligio.
Were there rules related to romantic relationships?
Yes, and that was the most fickle rule.
How so?
It only applied when either he was quote unquote single for the woman he wanted to be with him, or when he felt like he needed to do a media stunt was another reason he would say he wanted all the women and things like that. It was really always very superficial, like he chose to intervene.
And were folks within the group able to say no to Mr. Bishop?
The option was to leave or agree.
The option was to leave or to breathe. What's type of shit? So, girl, has he ever killed anybody?
What would happen if someone upset or angered Mr. Bishop?
I would say that emotional abuse would begin. This is where people would be isolated, put in a corner, or for those who are familiar with college, like a hazing type of thing, we treat people a certain way if they are not in agreement with him. Or one of the things that would happen is we would call them a cancer cell, and we would treat them like they're a cancer cell, like in the body, and they have to kill the cancer cells. But we're not going to kill them, we're just going to surround them. And this was the concept.
What did members of the group call Mr. Bishop? Like, how was he referred to?
Hey everybody. So do y'all think Natureboy has ever killed anyone or came close to killing anybody? Chaos.
It changed from my experience, commander-in-chief, and then it went to chief. It went to, let me see, there was Natureboy. I never got to meet him when he went by Natureboy. There was 3 guy, which is the most fraudulent one. Let me see. I think the list goes on. He's changed names really often, similar names. So, just small alterations.
How did he refer to the world outside of the group?
For those familiar with the Bible or history, Babylon is what he would call it.
And would he allow folks within the group to maintain communication with their friends and family outside of the group?
Yes, however, it was frowned upon.
How so?
It was as if you didn't really let go of your Babylon self or your Babylon family as it was regarded as. So if you did reach out and it wasn't to convince them to support us for money, there's no reason to talk to them.
When people left the group, how did Mr. Bishop respond?
He didn't care. I mean, initially, when they try to leave, it's hell on wheels. Once they finally get to leave, he does not care.
Can you describe whether there was like an us against them ethos within the group?
Yes, there was a us against them ethos where any segregation took place. So we was men or women, that would be a type of war. A team and B team. It would be these guys do the dirty work, we do all the technical stuff, and we get more rewards than them. That was played a part, at least I've seen it in how they felt, how the guys would feel. And anytime anyone would disagree with me, many times I had to sit up for hours fighting for what was true, while everyone was quote unquote being a yes man, just so they can go to sleep or just so they can eat.
Did you ever
So far, good testimony.
violence be used within the group?
Often, very often.
What was that violence used to accomplish?
Dominance.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. You guys hit the thumbs up, share out the video.
By who?
Eligio, even if it was done from other people, it was usually under an order. They're military, so things would be done under orders.
Good job,
Did the group maintain a robust online presence while you were there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, hell yeah.
And were there, I guess, was anything posted on any of the defendant's social media without his causing that to happen?
No, we actually had to verify most all posts. And even if we made our own content, we have to show it to them initially to get it approved. After a while, we kind of got in the groove of standard, and we can just make our own content.
And by 2022, if you had to estimate about how many social media followers did Mr. Bishop have?
Instagram had about 30,000. However, it was way more than that, all collectively on the internet.
And during your time in the group, did you participate in social media videos?
Often, yes.
Did those, during the course of those videos, were you saying positive things about Mr. Bishop and the group?
Always, yeah.
Did your comments in those videos accurately reflect the reality of what was happening?
No, because we only spoke with knowledge. We didn't really speak about what went on in the home front. That would turn people away.
All that crap that he was putting them through, do y'all really think that he was happy, that they were happy? Of course they were not happy. They were modern day slaves, pretty much. He was pimping them out on YouTube, Instagram, on Bigo. They were modern day slaves. He's getting all the clout, all the fame, and he's abusing them and pimping them out. And they got to call home to their family and their parents to beg for money.
Were you with the group on March 24th of 2022?
I believe so, yes.
The night you left?
Yes.
Do you remember what was happening that day?
Yes.
What was going on?
The relevant, are actually setting up an interview with Tasha K this day at the house.
Who's Tasha K?
She's a YouTuber.
Okay,
who's known for anything, I'm sure.
Okay,
I don't know the details. But I met with her for lunch. We scheduled an interview at the house this day. That's when I scheduled it. And that night, I remember, excuse me, I think I confused the dates a little bit. But I think that night, she was, yet again, fighting to be in a relationship with me. Usually the cause of most issues with what she wanted to be with me over and over and all the time. She's always telling it to him. And my ex was behind me. Her name, you guys know her as Zoka, or Jan Marie, you guys know her as Zoka. He knows she's my ex, and he knows that he wants to be with me. And we've been with both of them at the same time before. And the thing is, when he likes to put us on blast, we use astrology to really point out flaws or psychological issues people may have. And I share certain aspects in astrology that were highlighted during this meeting. We were being called demons. We were being told that we're operating out of ourselves.
Okay, so hold on. I think I'm lost. So this meeting is taking place that night?
That night.
Okay. All right. And so who all is present for the meeting?
The whole group.
Okay. And you said that you're being told this. Who's saying these things about you?
So Eligio has a table just like this, and he has a TV, and he has our chart pulled up on the TV. Everybody's sitting in various areas, either on their knees, on their knees on it, or going to be sitting in the chairs, however it works. We're all in the same room.
Okay. So as that's going on, what happens next?
So he starts to pull up these aspects, talking about we have this same demon, quote unquote, and he continues to fight for what she wants. And Eligio starts antagonizing her. Can't tell you verbatim what he was saying. It got to the point
because you don't remember, or something else?
I don't remember.
Okay, fair enough. All right, go ahead.
And he ended up having Zola slapping her a couple of times. I remember, he said, I do remember. He said, what was that face? I saw that face. What was that face you was making? I remember that. And I was like, what face? What? I'm just here. She was like, obviously scared to be punished immediately. He then had my ex, Zola, start slapping her. She slapped her a couple times. Like, what face? What? I'm just here. She was like, obviously scared to be punished immediately. He then had my ex, Zola, start slapping her. She slapped her a couple times, based on how he responded. Shortly after this, we continued the meeting hours, just a bunch of redundant things. The night that meeting's over, finally submits, which is usually what happens. She submits to whatever the will is of the collective to proceed. They end up having their night. She ends up saying, well, I'm just gonna leave. She calls her Uber, has everything there. We're not stopping her, we don't really care. She's leaving, you know? And the girls call her back upstairs as she's leaving.
Hey, Shawnee. Hey. Listen, email me at, which email do I want you to email me at? Email me at email me at ravon08@gmail.com. ravon08@gmail.com. So I can get you the soap sent out. But yeah, I'm going to be doing coverage of the Natureboy trial because the trial has finally started after 2 years of delays. He decided not to take the plea deal. He wanted to go to trial. So right now, this is Courtney, who used to be a part of the alleged cult. He's testifying. He's almost done. Then since I'm only 31 minutes in, I'll probably move on to the first part of the, what do you call this man? He's not a witness. He's an expert on cults. So we'll move on to like the first part of him being, questioned to see if he can be qualified as a expert on cults. Chaos, what are you doing? Why are you being so mixy? But anyway, you guys hit the thumbs up, share out the video.
And this is when we don't necessarily know what we
Yes.
So wait, no, let me just sort of like,
Let me see if I can put it. I'm gonna put it in the chat real quick.
so when,
I'm gonna put it in the chat real quick.
so when,
All right, there we go.
so when they went back upstairs, do you remember who called her inside?
Malia.
Okay. So Malia calls her
Malia
inside?
said, God's calling you.
Okay, so after Malia said that, what did you see?
She went upstairs.
Okay.
And I thought she was leaving again, but she was went upstairs and never came back down.
Okay, and where were you?
One thing that I do feel a way about is them being labeled victims. Unless he actually assaulted this person or touched them or abused them in some way, I don't think everybody should be labeled as a victim because these were adults who decided to be a part of this bullcrap. He did not have guns, knives, pistols, berettas, machetes, bow and arrows to their heads saying, you gotta stay, you gotta stay. It was either do what I say or leave and breathe. That's what Courtney said.
We have a meeting very close to that, it's a little room where I have a little office where I do most of my technical work. That's right there.
And so you were you paying attention to what was going on upstairs?
No, the men usually separate and let me go handle whatever he wants to do with women. The men usually work together and manage each other.
What else was going on in the house at this point?
Nothing, cleaning, just cleaning and doing the mundane things, seeing what money can be made. Keeping the social media going and stuff.
Okay. You ever see again after that?
Yes.
Well, did you ever see again within the group after that?
Within the group now.
Okay.
That was the last time with that group.
All right. How long did you remain in the group?
About a week after, I remember shortly after she left, we had that warrant, and I was showing the warrant, and it wasn't taken very serious. I remember saving my desk, because I knew it was serious, the warrant. And about a little bit later, the police came and arrested pretty much everybody off of for this first year.
And so after that event, did you remain loyal to the group, or what did you do?
When we initially were arrested, I just stayed there. He never came back.
Okay.
From being arrested, I stayed with the group, and I continued to help mitigate whatever needed to be done to sustain everyone, as that was my goal.
At some point, though, did you meet again?
Yes.
Okay. And did the two of you all engage in a relationship?
When I first met with her, no. We actually stayed far apart because of the case. However, when I left, a couple of men left with me, and she supported me in the leading, and she ended up paying for my ticket at this place called J2 to Spa, this place where I used to go and stay 24 hours, sleep and all that. And she paid for that, and she helped me with a number of things initially when I left.
Okay. When was the last time that you
Talked to her?
that you have seen her in person?
Let me see. When I went to see my daughter with her, which
They are updating a little too much for me. It's starting to get on my nerves. It's like every time I look, there's a new change, there's something else going on. I feel like it's just a little too much. Like the things that they need to update, they're not updating. Update the things that should be updated. Like do some like server updates. Like make things more fluid. Shit. Hey everybody.
Essentially, what I was trying to get, the two of y'all have a child together, right? And that happened, did that happen after you left the group?
Yes.
Okay. But are y'all currently in a relationship?
It's
Do y'all
complicated.
currently reside in the same home?
No.
If I could have just a second.
It's complicated. We know. Seeing what the defense does. So here, I'm at, we know, be a YouTuber, be grinding,
All right.
or whatever
So,
it is.
let's move on to. I think the next part is the
Clear. So what?
the expert. Child. I bet they won't. All right, so the next part is going to be the expert trial witness, his full testimony. Oh, do I want to, hold on. Where's that? That's 17. All right.
Hey, what's morning? And I literally sat through 2 hours of it.
Other opinion-based information from other lay witnesses on you.
All right. I'm gonna play this one first.
Show her picture.
I'm gonna show this one first.
I have to now. I'm going.
Be licensed by any professional boards that are recognized by the government.
No, there is no licensure for the title.
Back it up. There we go.
That, and then I'm going to end the stream. I'm bring him back just like a little bit.
On calls and coercive persuasion.
So this is the expert witness on codes.
Okay. And what?
The various databases and also to manage them.
So you have no.
I guess when Neek was doing the recording, the audio was kind of low on her end, so I really can't get it any louder. But hopefully you guys can hear what he's saying.
I do not employ someone directly.
Okay.
That's not the nature of how the database works.
So you're essentially a database manager.
No, not really.
First of all, why he playing with that man like that? See, I don't know who this is doing the questioning, but he was being real, not even nice, nasty. He was being nasty. He was being a nasty. He was being nasty. It's giving me he's one of the girls. The way he was low-key being nasty throughout this whole situation. Because I've already watched all of this, you guys, so I already know what's going on. But this dude was being nasty the whole time.
Also, am constantly reviewing articles and documents for inclusion. I'm also a moderator for the message board, and I also receive ongoing complaints and concerns from people on a daily basis that call in or email me regarding their concerns about some group or leader.
Okay. And what schools do you teach at?
I do not teach at a school. I've been asked to lecture and have been a guest lecturer at about 30 universities and colleges across the United States and internationally.
Okay.
Can y'all hear him well? I feel like y'all can hear him well. Because I got the audio system is immaculate. So y'all should be able to hear him real well.
So you don't teach at any colleges, right?
No.
You don't teach at any universities.
No.
You've never taught at any college or any university.
I've been a guest lecturer at a number of colleges and universities.
Have you been on staff at any colleges or universities?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been on payroll at any college or university?
No.
Girl, who is this sissy doing the questioning? Because only one of the girls is going to get into your business like this and lay it out like this to embarrass you and make you look non-credible.
I did teach a high school course curriculum on cults and coercive persuasion for the Bureau of Jewish Education in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, and what year was that?
That would have been, I think, from about 1982 to 19...
I think it's the prosecutor, but he ain't got to be questioning this man down like this, putting him on Front Street talking about, do you have anything higher than a high school? Oh, we ain't got to the good part, because child, they was letting this man have it. Oh, the way they was saying, oh, have you ever been published anywhere in any peer-reviewed journals? Yeah. In China? Oh, not in America. Oh, okay. They was letting this man have it. And I was cackling. But I mean, they're doing their job, but they was tearing this man up. This is an old white man. He could go jump off a bridge tomorrow. Y'all don't stress this man out. Y'all know the white people, they be a little fragile. They get a little pressure on them, girl. And then they start asking about the money. Well, how much you getting paid? Oh, $250 an hour for in-court time? Oh, $200 just to do research? Oh, $100 for traveling time an hour? Oh, they were letting this man have it.
80s for about 3 years.
So 1982,
Thank you for the donation.
I'm going to say it may have been 1983.
This motherfucker sassy.
Do you have any professional degrees?
I graduated from Paytas
Chaos.
High School. Other than that, no.
I don't want to hear that.
Associate degrees from junior college?
No.
Any professional certificates for purposes of psychology?
No.
Psychiatry?
That man said any associate degrees, anything from junior college. That man went to high school. That's all he need to do, bitch. The fuck is wrong with you?
No.
Any sort of mental health training at all?
No, I'm not a mental health professional.
Not a mental health professional. Okay. Are you licensed?
Trying to embarrass that man like that.
No.
Shawty, you ain't talking about any certifications? Any certifications? Oh, none. Okay. None? Trying to embarrass that man down to the national TV and the national YouTube and all the national public media. Trying to discredit that man and his credentials. That man's been doing this for 42 years. Don't play with him. All he needs is a high school diploma. He don't need no degrees to be an expert. All he needs is the experience and the knowledge. Not the secondhand embarrassment.
Licensed by any professional boards that are recognized by the government?
No, there is no licensure for the type of work that I do.
Okay. You indicated that you...
He ain't got no license. He don't need none because it ain't none.
Peer reviewed something.
Damn
else.
it.
But is there any reference of anyone peer reviewing you? You mentioned that a professor from Harvard, that your statement that you just made regarding authoritarian groups or whatever the word you used, that statement came from a paper from a professor at Harvard. Do you have your own peer review that other people have reviewed you?
Yes.
What is that?
I wrote a paper on a particular group in China, and I believe that was published in a peer-reviewed journal by Beijing University. And I also wrote a paper on intervention and how to undertake an intervention, and that was also published in a peer-reviewed journal in China.
So you've been peer-reviewed by Chinese?
Yes.
Okay.
And published with an...
Girl, the way he said it. So you've been peer reviewed by Chinese? Bitch.
Undertaken intervention, and that was also published in a peer-reviewed journal in China.
So you've been peer-reviewed by Chinese?
Yes.
Okay.
And published within academic journals in China.
And what are the name of those journals?
One was, it's on my CV, one was Beijing University, and I'm not sure the other university off the top of my head. But there were two peer review articles that were published.
And that was only on groups in China?
No. One was on intervention generally, how an intervention would take place, what would occur in an intervention. And the other was on a specific group that is active in China and also in North America and around the world.
Okay. All right. But as far as pure,
So we're going to move on to the next part here in just a moment, you
you
guys.
in the United States by someone who's educated here.
Right, I was like, okay, so I understand, China can be a little propagandish. They can be a bit much. But he's been peer reviewed, whether it be America or China. You're just trying to throw dirt on this man's name. You just want to discredit this man so much. Oh, so about the Chinese. Girl, that took me out. Oh, so about the Chinese. Oh. No, he eat Chinese shrimp fried rice. And orange chicken and broccoli. Oh, by the Chinese. Chaos. Move. Listen here. Get out my office or be quiet. Be quiet, watch it to get out the office. I don't want to hear you licking, biting, scratching, none of that. Thank you.
United States, you don't have anything with that, do you?
I have not been published in a peer-reviewed journal in the U.S. No.
All right. And not regarding any particular groups of domestic violence within the United States either, correct? What I'm asking is, have you been peer-reviewed by anyone regarding domestic violence, sex cult-based groups in the United States?
I have written articles that have been published in regards to peer-reviewed.
Thank you for the donation.
Articles that were submitted to a peer-reviewed academic journal published in the United States. No.
Okay. All right. The state asked you a series of questions that the statute requires. And so they asked if your testimony was based on sufficient facts. Where did you obtain facts for this case from?
I was provided information by the prosecution.
Okay. Have you been provided any information by the defense?
No.
Have you requested any information from the defense?
No.
Okay. So your facts come from one side of the case. Is that fair to say?
I have listened to Mr. Bishop's statement in total.
All right, so I didn't listen this far. I don't know if he's going to say the victim name, so I'm going to stop it right there.
Okay. I personally, because I've actually followed Natureboy and this whole situation for the past few years, I don't feel like it was a sex cult. Was there some sexual things going on and some stuff being passed around and babies popping up, girl? Yes. But I don't think it was all about sex. I think more about him being a narcissist and trying to be in control of these men and these women. That's what I got from what I've seen over the years. It never gave me, sex cult. It gave me this man who thinks he's a god, but he knows he's not a god, but he can control these fools and make them believe that he's a god. That's what it always gave me.
Second follow-up, edit out if the victim name.
Yes, because I don't know if you were here, but I did the see. You just got here. Yeah, you missed the part when Courtney Townsend was testifying about his time in the cult, and Courtney is the male. He had about there were at least like 10, 12 females and at least 8 men throughout the whole time of the situation. Girl, you ain't got to be sorry, but honey, we're be running this thing down day by day, coverage by coverage, lie by lie, and when the jury goes to deliberate, and they come back and they say life without the option of parole, he's going to gag. He's going to gag. Oh, he's going to gag.
Come up.
And once again, shout out to Meek at Night, because she has given the public permission to use her footage of the trial, because she has the actual link to the actual trial from the court. She did the extra legwork to get this link. So you guys check out Neek at Night as well. I hashtagged her in the title, and I will also tag her when I share the video out after the live again on my community tab, but check her out as well.
It's not a prerequisite for extra.
Oh, and the judge is no nonsense. Now, the judge, they need this judge right here on that YSL case. So they can go ahead and wrap that shit the fuck up.
For status. Also, in the U.
So charges are alleged rape, hold on. Okay, here we go.
Following some breaking news in DeKalb County, bond denied for a self-professed cult leader. Eligio Bishop, also known as Natureboy, is accused of rape and false imprisonment, along with other charges. Neighbors saw 11 Alive. They're stunned by the allegations, but are even more surprised by what this group is posting online.
Its social accounts reaching tens of thousands of people on Instagram and YouTube.
All right, so yeah, the alleged rape, assault, and some other charges. But they offered him a plea of, I believe, 20 to 30. But if he gets found guilty, he denied the plea deal. He turned it down. He'll be facing life with no parole. And the judge asked him, she asked him several times. Let me pull that up. Because the judge asked him several times, are you understanding what I'm telling you? Turns down plea deal.
Opening statements begin today in the trial of an accused cult leader in DeKalb County. Prosecutors say Eligio Bishop raped one of his followers, then posted explicit videos of the woman online.
Fox 5's Tyler Fingert has been in the courtroom all day today. He's live at the DeKalb County Courthouse with the night's new information. Tyler?
Yeah, Tom, good evening to you. It's been nearly 2 years since the victim says she was raped by an alleged cult leader. Today, she faced him in court as the first witness in his rape trial.
When I was there, I was definitely, I would say, brainwashed.
The woman who claims she was raped by Eligio Bishop detailed in court for the first time what she says it was like to be a member of his alleged cult, Carbon Nation. She says she was with his group for 3 stints and says things started off fine, but eventually she noticed violent outbursts. When she tried to leave the group for the final time, she says Bishop asked to sleep with her one more time.
He basically was trying to convince me to sleep with him.
And how did you respond to that?
I said no.
She says she told him no repeatedly before finally relenting and saying okay.
I felt like I couldn't leave in that moment because I felt restricted.
During opening statements, prosecutors painted Bishop as a man who held all the power in the group, and he posted sexually explicit videos of her as an act of revenge for leaving. The defense denies the allegations and says everything was consensual and that this is a he said, she said situation.
You'll hear, again from the former members, that this defendant had his choice of the women in the group.
Trial.
When I was there, I was definitely... I would say, brainwashed.
The woman who claims she was raped by Eligio Bishop detailed in court for the first time what she says it was like to be a member of his alleged cult, Carbon Nation. She says she was with his group for
And the trial of an accused cult leader continues this hour in DeKalb County. Eligio Bishop rejected a plea deal just as opening statements and testimony began yesterday. And the victim took the witness stand. She explained the power she said that Bishop had over the members of this cult. Prosecutors described Bishop as a power-hungry cult leader who abused his members. However, the defense claimed everything was consensual and that the victims were able to leave. He's facing multiple charges, including rape and false imprisonment.
All right, so it was the alleged rape, assault, false imprisonment. I'm trying to find a clip of the judge explaining to him his charges. Because she was like very adamant, like, sir, do you understand what's going on? the thing is that it was consensual, but it wasn't consensual because even though she gave in and said, yeah, she only did that because she felt pressured and afraid. Oh.
Of Georgia,
Is this it?
on or about the 24th day of March 2022 in violation.
Thank you. 33.
But not directly with victims.
Okay.
Okay, no, that's not it. Well, I can't find it, but the judge was very like, she kept asking him, are you sure you understand the difference between life and life without parole?
She was with his group for 3 stints.
His choice of the women in the group.
Victim says during the alleged assault, she felt powerless and had no choice.
And said, shut up. You're my property. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, so she pretty much told him, yeah, you can fuck me, because she was scared of the consequences. And then while he's over there, you know, blowing her back out against her will, he's telling her, you're a piece of shit and you ain't going nowhere. Sir, you're going to jail.
Also,
You're going to jail. But the thing is that if you get life, that's actually, I think, like just 20 years. But life without parole is life. Like, you in there till you die. You can't get out on good behavior. You can't get out because, you know, it's been 30 years. He's facing life without parole. So I think that's what they call natural born life. Like, you're in there until you fucking die. Versus life with parole, you could be in there 20 years, then you go to the parole board, hey, I'm different, I've changed, let me out this motherfucking hellhole. They can either say yeah or no. Natureboy ain't no older than 45. He ain't no old man, he's not no old dude. He ain't no older than 45. Hold on, let's see. How old is Eligio Bishop? Girl, I ain't say Elijah.
Here's what I found.
I didn't say Elijah. Hold on, y'all. He's 40 years old. So he can do, child, he could have took that plea deal, did 20 years, would have been 60, and could have asked to be paroled out. But he gonna fuck around and be found guilty, and he gonna get that life and no parole. Damn. So he's 8 years older than me. Girl, not me, girl. Not me, girl. First of all, I could never do none of this bullshit. But if it was ever in a twilight dimension, I was caught up in some bullshit like this, girl, sir, what was that plea deal? 20 years? With parole? Run me that. Let's go. Fuck the trial. White judge, let's go. Bang a little gavel, girl. Let's go. Wrap it up. Take me back to the prison. Let me get these 20 years going. I've been here 2 years. So we already got 2 years down. Give me that time served, ma'am. Bitch, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. Oh, you're going to jail, sir.
What is this? 2015 U.S. Appeal Lexus 21756. The
I literally sat through 2 hours of this testimony and it disappeared.
Reliability, I can determine the reliability prong underdog are based primarily on an expert's experience and general knowledge in the field. Also, the opinion of the expert witness can be based on study and research. So, further, Mr. Ross has been declared an expert in Georgia and in various other states and in federal court.
I rather, girl, first of all, I ain't gonna never. Can we just get at that girl? Bitch, knock on all this cheap ass wood in here, bitch. I ain't gonna never be faced with a 20-year nothing. But if it would have been me, I would have taken the plea deal, because just from being on the outside and seeing the things that have gone on with Natureboy and these ladies and these gentlemen over the past 6-7 years, before it even got, national media coverage, sir, you're guilty. You are guilty, and you're not getting off with a slap. You're not getting a little 2 to 5 year prison stint, sir. That's not what, this is not giving that. And he has to be fucking, let me not say that word. He has to be mentally ill to think that going to trial was the best option for him.
On the subject of coercive, I think it was coercive persuasion. And he has outlined the principles and methods that he's relied on, including the writings, the criteria, 8 criteria, thought reform, 3 stages of coercive persuasion, and exit costs. So I think he has enough specialized knowledge to testify in this area, and then you will have full latitude to cross-examine the witness, Mr. Booker.
Okay, good. The only thing I would ask the court, I guess, to instruct the witness, or how you want to do that. I think it's a dangerous position where he's going to base his testimony on videos that he's watched, where he's relying on what someone else has said that we're not going to get a chance to cross-examine. And so I don't think that would be a proper area. I think he should be limited to only his opinion based on what he is actually, he believes spoke to in this case.
I thought experts could rely on other information.
Girl, if this psychopath wins or gets off on a technicality, he gonna come back on these motherfucking Beagle streets, these YouTube streets, these Instagram streets. He's going to terrorize the girls and boys. Bitch, if he was to get off on anything, if he was to get a minimum sentence, if he gets anything less than 10 years, he's gonna be in the prison with a fucking cell phone. If the little gay boy that did that hit that lady in Georgia can get a prison phone and still do porn, if this man get anything less than 10 years, he gonna have a phone in prison, going live on Beagle, terrorizing the girls and boys. And bitch, I'm gonna gag.
They obtained during the court. I mean, that's
information, other opinion-based information from other lay witnesses on YouTube.
The rule doesn't specifically state YouTube. You can cross-examine him on that, but I do believe, let me look for the authority on that, but okay. Expert witnesses are generally allowed to testify.
Oh yeah, that boy Tay, the light-skinned boy, they were racing in Atlanta. He hit a lady who was pulled over on the side of bitch. There was a lady on the side of the highway. I think he was on that highway that goes in the circle, I think, in Atlanta. When it goes in the big circle. She was on the side of the highway having car issues. He hit the lady. The lady flew off. Don't, bitch, do not laugh. Bitch, do not laugh. Bitch, do not laugh, bitch. She flew off the highway, went over the ramp. Child went down like, what, 2-3 stories. But she survived. She alive, y'all. She ain't dead to the goddamn sidewalk. She survived. But they identified him as the one that hit her, and they locked his ass up. But he's in jail with a cell phone, still doing the shenanigans with the boys in the prison. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. He's not in jail. He's in prison, bitch. He's in prison. And he's in there getting his back blown out. He's blowing back out. He's sucking. Have you ever been swallowed? Have you been swallowed? Girl, it's a lot going on in them jail cells. And he got an OnlyFans. He put on the OnlyFans. He put on his Twitter. Bitch. Let's proceed. Let's just proceed.
Based on hearsay.
I can't.
So your opinions can be based on hearsay. That's my understanding of the law, unless you have a case that says differently.
Judge, I don't think it would be hearsay based on not what they watched on YouTube. You might have watched Saturday Night Live, just basically on that.
Well, I think all of
Listen, don't come down here talking about the YouTube and trying to subpoena YouTube for videos and stuff, and have our servers that's already slow, even slower. Y'all want to subpoena YouTube and pull files from 5-6 years ago, bitch. Not on my watch, whore.
that is fair game for you for cross-examination.
Shawnee, you better stop it right now. You better stop it right now.
Rule 703. Okay. What does the rule state?
It's a long rule. Like it says the facts or data.
My first question for watching the man said it's a long rule. I said we got a lot of time. Get to reading the long ass rule, sir. Because she ain't playing with none of y'all.
In a particular proceeding upon which an expert bases an opinion or inference may be those perceived by or made known to the expert at or before the hearing. If of a type reasonably relied upon by experts in the particular field in forming opinions or inferences upon the subject, such facts or data need not be admissible in evidence in order for the opinion or inference to be admitted. Such facts or data that are otherwise inadmissible shall not be disclosed to the jury by the proponent of the opinion or inference unless the court determines that their probative value in assisting the jury to evaluate the expert's opinion substantially outweighs their prejudicial effect.
And so I would ask you to rely on that.
So the way that I read that is that he would not be able to say, so-and-so told me Mr. Bishop did this, but he can use the fact that so-and-so told him Mr. Bishop did whatever in forming his opinion. And he can still express his opinion, and the fact that he relied upon otherwise inadmissible evidence in forming that opinion does not make the opinion itself inadmissible.
Only if the court finds it probative. I mean, I think we should read that last sentence a few more times because I think that.
Well, no, I'm familiar with the rule. We're not going to read it a few more times. So we're going to go forward, and you can, if you think he's getting too far afield, then feel free to make an objection.
And so, Judge, I'm just going to make an objection for purposes of him being admitted as an expert when he's sitting as a standing objection.
Of course.
We don't need to do it.
Can I work?
All right, then let's finish yours in.
Excuse him, please. Sir, can I work so I can buy us a mansion next year on the Great Lakes? So when the zombies invade America, we can have us some fresh water. Excuse you. Can you be like Ghost and just lay down and be quiet? Ghost over here on my right side just being peaceful, man. And here come Kayla. I just want to jump up on me and be in action. Okay? We're going to have a mansion on the Great Lakes. So when the zombies come, we're going to have all the fresh water to drink. We got to be away on the East Coast drinking salt water. You ain't about to terrorize me, Chaos. He's like, you done been live for over an hour. You've been live earlier too, sir. I'm about to terrorize you. And he's not.
Get started.
All right, so they're gonna bring the jurors in, and it's gonna get.
ROSS.
Good morning, Mr. Ross.
This is the Mr. Ross is the expert witness on cults.
How are you currently employed?
I'm a private consultant and I'm the founder and director of the Cult Education Institute.
And what is the Cult Education Institute?
The Cult Education Institute is a very large archive of information, an online library that was initially launched in 1996 and is at culteducation.com. It's a place where people can go and find historical information about controversial groups and movements, some that have been called cults. It also has a large message board that has been up for many years where people can comment about and express concerns about various groups and leaders.
And how long has the Cult Education Institute been around?
The Cult Education Institute site was launched in 1996.
And tell the jury what you do as the founder and director.
I take complaints from people about controversial groups and movements. That may come from a spouse, a family member, parents, adult children. Also, I am looking at documents and articles about various groups and leaders and archiving them into the database. I also moderate the message board.
And can you tell the jury about your educational background?
I graduated from high school in Phoenix, Arizona. I graduated from a high school, Phoenix Union, in Phoenix, Arizona.
And how did you get into this field studying cults?
Well, it started when a very strange fringe group, religious group.
So before he gets into his more to the testimony, for those who just got here, this is the expert trial witness. He is an expert on cults, and he was approved by the judge to be a witness in this trial for Natureboy. So we're gonna probably do half of this tonight, and then I'll end it, and I'll probably come back in the morning. Tomorrow's Sunday. Okay, yeah, I'm off tomorrow. Come back in the morning and do the other half, or I may do the other half later on, late tonight, just to split it up. It is a lot to cover. I don't want to do it all in one video.
Infiltrated a nursing home where my grandmother.
Yeah, he get paid to study cults, but also it's not personal to him, but it started from a personal thing, which he's about to talk about right now. How he got into cults and studying cults and whatnot.
Lived. And I went to visit her, and she had been harassed by a nurse's aide. And when I found that out, I went to the director of the nursing home, and eventually they found that 5 members of this particular group had sought employment with the covert agenda of targeting the elderly in the nursing home.
So his grandmother was in a nursing home, and there was a local cult or group organization, and several of their members went to apply at a nursing home and got jobs with the intention of harming and doing things to these older people, like, I guess, like scamming them and stealing from them and stuff like that. So that's how he got into, cults, because it came from his grandmother being, targeted by a cult herself.
That led to me being an activist, a community organizer.
Hello, Crunchy. I don't actually do interviews for mods. I pick my mods based on, interaction and, support and things like that. So as of right now, I am actually not adding any more mods. I'm going to actually be removing some mods here pretty soon. So yeah.
Eventually, I would be invited to join the staff of a social service agency in Phoenix and later an educational bureau. And
now I think the defense is going to use this against him later on in the trial. Like on some, oh, you have a personal agenda against people with big followings or organizations that may be deemed as cults. Like you have a personal agenda to make sure that my client gets found guilty for being a leader of a cult. I think they're going to try to flip this on him later on during this trial.
Then that segued into doing intervention work with people that were under the influence of controversial groups and movements, some called cults. And I would eventually do more than 500 interventions across the United States and internationally.
And what is an intervention?
An intervention is when a family or spouse, a loved one, is very concerned about someone that is under undue influence in a particular group. They're concerned about their safety, their welfare, and they stage an intervention, much like a drug or an alcohol intervention. And so the family is there, I am there, and we discuss their concerns, how to identify a destructive authoritarian group. We discuss the coercive persuasion methods used by such groups, and very often information about the particular group or leader that person may not even know, so that they can make a more informed decision about continuing with the group in the future.
And I know you said the Cult Education Institute was founded in 19...
Right, you would think it would be a conflict of interest. Chaos, get your ass down. But the judge approved him to be an expert witness, so she didn't see it as a conflict of interest. But I feel like the defense is going to try somehow to flip this later on down in the trial, because I would. So, sir, let's go back to your opening statements. You got into cults because a cult allegedly tried to target your grandmother's nursing home. So is this personal for you? See, and then you throw doubt to the jury, and it only takes one juror or one or two jurors to have doubt and be like, nah, we're not feeling this. He's not guilty. And that's it, girl. There we go.
96. How long have you been doing this work?
I started doing my...
What happened to Mima? Did she lose all her money? All her retirement money? What happened to her? Let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
Work in 1980.
Because he opened the door to be cross-examined when he said that himself. Hey, what are y'all doing? Well, they're getting real antsy. They are getting real antsy. But he opened the door to be cross-examined on that subject because he brought it up himself. So what happened? Yeah, what happened with your grandma? Was she an actual victim? Was she targeted herself? He opened the door for that. So it'd be interesting to see if they bring this back up in a few days when the trial comes back up on Monday.
So it's been over 40 years.
Not a million.
And can you tell the jury about any specialized training that you have?
Mima, pack it up. Go back to the house, Mima. You can't afford this nursing home no more. Pack it up, bitch.
Well, I've been mentored by some of the best people in the field, and I've worked with mental health professionals, law enforcement. And so I have learned from direct experience working with thousands of cult members, former cult members, families over a very long period of time.
And you talked about working with law enforcement. What different agencies have you worked with?
I have worked with the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department, and the BATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. in regards to different groups at different points that were being investigated. For example, Nexium, led by Keith Raniere, the Waco Davidians, led by David Koresh, and other groups.
And have you written any articles or publications?
Yes, I've written articles and I've written chapters for books. And I've also written papers that have been published in peer-reviewed journals. Perhaps I'm most well known for the book I wrote, Cults Inside Out, How People Get In and Can't Get Out, which has been translated into complex Chinese and also published in Italian.
China, again? But not just China, Italy as well. Girl, I guess people in China love him.
And is there peer-reviewed literature relied upon in the area of study?
Yes.
And are you able to rely on that literature in reaching your conclusions?
Yes.
And the manner in which you apply peer-reviewed literature to individual cases, is that generally accepted within the academic community?
Yes.
And you talked about doing interventions. Did that include speaking with family members as well as current members and former members that are in these groups?
Yes.
And can you describe to the jury what is a destructive authoritarian group?
Well, there was a psychiatrist, he's still alive, he's almost 100 now, Robert J. Lifton. He taught at Harvard Medical School and he wrote a paper in the 80s that was published titled Cult Formation. And I think what Lifton identified in that paper was the nucleus or the definition of a destructive authoritarian group or cult. And that relies on three core elements. One is an absolute authoritarian leader who has no accountability in any meaningful way, and who is the defining element and the driving force of the group. Whatever the leader says is right, whatever the leader says is wrong, and the leader becomes really an object of worship. Second, that leader uses identifiable techniques of coercive persuasion, thought reform, to gain undue influence over his or her followers. And third, if the group is to be considered destructive, the leader uses the undue influence he or she has gained to exploit, do harm, damage to the followers. Now that varies by degree from group to group. Some groups are much worse than others. But those three core elements, the all-powerful leader that becomes an object of worship, the use of coercive persuasion to gain undue influence, and the use of that undue influence to do harm or exploit the followers. Those three core elements exist in every group that I've ever dealt with that has been called a destructive authoritarian group or cult, and almost every other definition will intersect those three core elements.
And have you observed counterintuitive victim behavior when you've interacted with folks who are currently in these groups or have left the groups?
Yes, I mean, the way to understand undue influence is people acting against their own best interest, but consistently in the best interest of the leader who exercises undue influence over them. So let me give you an example that's a very tragic one. Right now in Kenya, Africa, the followers of a group called the...
Not doing Black History Month. Where we going at with this now? See, I ain't catch this part earlier. Where we going at with this, sir? Not doing Black History Month.
Gospel International Church, led by Paul McKenzie, more than 400 people starved to death, including almost 100 children. They were told by the leader that the end was near and that they needed to fast and pray, and they did so until they died, by the hundreds.
Bitch. Not doing Black History. Just... This is not what I needed to hear during Black History Month, sir. You mean the people is over there in Africa with coats, starving out hundreds of people, black people, and black children? Because of what some fool said? Ghost, why do you keep going in your house for? And he got the biggest house on the block. Ghost. You gonna go clean out your house? What the hell, sir?
They did so knowing that their children were dying. Now, this was not in the best interest of the people who died, and certainly was contrary to what a parent would want.
Shawty, this thing's gonna take you left, right, high, and low. There's a lot going on.
For their own child. Another example would be the massacre at Jonestown in 1978.
Oh, that was amazing.
The followers of Jim Jones, isolated in a retreat in Guyana, committed what they called revolutionary suicide. Almost 1,000 people died, 200 children. Their own parents frequently giving them cyanide. All this was done because Jim Jones knew that he was coming to a reckoning.
Y'all couldn't have postponed this trial until March the 1st? And y'all couldn't have fucked up St. Patty's Day with this bullshit? It's still Black History Month. I don't appreciate this not one bit, bitch.
Possible criminal prosecution and exposure. So he encouraged his members to end their lives, and they did so. Other examples could be people giving all their money to a leader, sacrificing their careers for a leader, or allowing a leader to abuse and exploit them sexually or physically.
And the behaviors that you just described, do those match with what you have read and studied in literature?
Yes.
And your testimony today, is that based upon sufficient facts and data?
Yes.
And is your testimony the product of reliable principles and methods?
Yes.
Have you applied the principles and methods reliably to the facts of this case?
Yes.
And have you ever testified as an expert witness in the state of Georgia or any other states?
Yes, I've testified previously in Georgia and Savannah in a child custody case. I've been qualified, accepted, and testified in 12 states, including United States federal courts, subsequent to a dobrik hearing.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to tender Mr. Ross as an expert in the field of destructive authoritarian groups.
Mr. Booker.
Judge, the defense would object, and we have to make a standing objection.
All right. Overrule the objection. I will allow Mr. Ross to testify as an expert in those areas.
So the defense objected to him to be an expert witness, and the judge said, nah, I overruled that. He can be an expert witness. The defense is shook.
Yes. Thank you, Judge. Mr. Ross, can we just talk, starting from the beginning, can you talk about recruitment into these kind of groups?
Well, when people are recruited, no one willingly joins a group that would be against their own best interest, that would take advantage of them. So typically there is misleading information.
I think he has an actual lawyer because I feel like the money he had from Beagle and whatever money he may have been getting on Instagram, if he was to get money on Instagram, but he was definitely getting paid on Beagle. I feel like the people who still supported him after he was arrested took that money and gave it to him. And I feel like people are still supporting him and maybe sending him money. I don't think he has a court-appointed lawyer at all.
In the recruitment process, deception.
I could be wrong, but I don't think he does.
People are what has been called love bombed, where love bombing exists. In other words, they enter the group and there is this seemingly unconditional love for them and acceptance, and everyone is being very welcoming, very affectionate, very loving, and their impression is very positive. And they don't see what is behind the door. What are the more extreme beliefs of the group? What are the more extreme demands that might be made of them in the group? So I think in the recruitment process, which now is frequently done online through social media, people do not know, in most cases, enough facts and background to make a fully informed decision.
Back in 2020, during the height of COVID, did you see an increase in folks joining these destructive authoritarian groups?
Yes, because people were isolated, people were at home, people were online more than they would otherwise be, and people were feeling pretty depressed and anxious about the condition of the world, the pandemic. And so I think that if there is a consistent narrative in what takes place in a recruitment process, what type of person is recruited, it is someone who is not going through a great time in their life. We all go through difficult times. And I think when we do, we look for a sense of relief, a way to feel better about the circumstances we're in, or a way to improve our situation. And destructive authoritarian groups offer that. They say that. They say they have answers. They say they have solutions. And I think during the pandemic, many people were feeling very anxious and looking for relief.
Now, we talked about the three characteristics of a leader, and one was no meaningful accountability, and the other was thought reform or coercive persuasion. Can you explain a little bit about coercive persuasion and thought reform?
Coercive persuasion is based on a book written by a teacher, a professor at MIT, Edgar Schein, and he wrote about Chinese thought reform in the 1950s, and he was also concerned about the way in which the North Koreans were able to gain undue influence over prisoners of war during the Korean conflict, what had been called in popular culture brainwashing. And so Schein was able to designate 3 stages of coercive persuasion. The first phase is what he called unfreezing, or what I would simply call breaking people down. And then the second phase was once they were unfrozen, they were not rigid in their positions, their beliefs, or they were in need of relief because they were in distress, because they had been broken down. Then there would be the next stage, which would be changing the way people think, the way they feel, and influencing them. And then third would be what Schein called refreezing, and that would be
refreezing them in a changed state that had been achieved through coercive persuasion. And that would be achieved by social isolation, reinforcement by other people in their group or their peers, as it were. And those three stages of coercive persuasion can be seen in destructive authoritarian groups. Robert J. Lifton, when he wrote his book, Thought Reform and the Psychology of Totalism, went into this in greater depth. And he had like 8 criteria to determine whether or not a group was using thought reform. And one would be milieu control or social isolation. So what you see are people isolated in a community, not really having exchange of ideas with people outside of the group or the community, and in a sense living in a kind of bubble. And then once they are within that bubble, Lifton would call what would happen mystical manipulation or planned spontaneity. And that meant that the leader would manipulate people within this controlled environment. They would think everything was happening spontaneously, but it was really planned. And then another would be loaded language, thought-terminating cliché.
Oh yeah, this man is very knowledgeable. Like, he spoke so well throughout this whole situation.
Is used by the group to shut down.
And that's why the defense was so shook.
Critical thinking. Another major one would be the dispensing of existence, in which anyone outside of the group.
One of the things of the trial is that they have to prove that this was indeed a cult, because that's one of the things that holds this whole situation together. If it wasn't a cult, then what was it? Was it just y'all being polygamous and fucking and sucking and playing in the sun all day? So they have to indeed prove that it was a cult.
Would be diminished in their existence, and those who left the group would be shunned, or they would feel that they no longer had a right to exist. And the way of interpreting this is that there's no legitimate reason to leave the group. Another would be the cult of confession, in which people are encouraged to empty themselves with no boundaries in a group setting with the leader, and in this way,
Yo, I am hungry. They got me a fish sandwich on the way. Oh, I got me a fish sandwich on the way, honey, and some custard. Oh, I'm gonna tear that thing up. As soon as hubby hit the door, I will end this live because I am hungry, and this pickle ain't cutting it. I got oysters. I don't feel like cooking no oysters and no crab legs tonight, and I done ate some steak earlier before the live. But I want this fish sandwich.
group identifies all of the individual's vulnerabilities.
Oh my God.
How they can leverage those vulnerabilities for control. And what you begin to see as you look at the way Lifton lays out these criteria is that one strengthens the other and that they interlock together. And so what you see in destructive authoritarian groups is the most extreme expression of social isolation or milieu control would be what we call a compound. That would be isolated from the outside world, in which the leader would control all information, communication, relations.
You guys actually hold on just a minute. Sorry, I had to throw in another request. Y'all know I am so extra. Oh my God.
Relationships, everything within that environment.
Now, I think when you were talking about coercive persuasion, you may have mentioned peer reinforcement. Can you explain what that concept is?
Let me also talk about how that peer reinforcement becomes a social proof, which is a principle of influence identified by Robert Cialdini in his book Influence. And that is, we all rely on people around us and circumstances around us to determine what we do. For example, you go to the airport, you don't know where to go, you look where the other people are going, and that becomes your social proof, or your pathway to what you should do. And so with peer...
Sir, I'm gonna disagree with you on that one, because if I go to that Atlanta airport or that airport in Texas that had me going in a goddamn circle in a tizzy, had me feel like I'm about to miss my goddamn flight, bitch, I'm not going with the long lines that, like the Paytas and the Subways and shit, bitch, and the TGI Fridays, bitch, and the and stuff. I'm going to the places with the short lines. I can get in there and pay my $12 for my one damn beer, bitch, and get the fuck on out. In the airport, I am not going where there's a long line at. Now, I'm just saying, I'm not doing that.
Pressure does is give people, it can give people reassurance and help. Or it can become a false social proof. That is, if you are submerged in a group where everyone is saying the same thing and everyone is in lockstep behind the leader, you're not getting any other alternative perspective. You're not getting accurate feedback from other people that might express what's going on is crazy. So we often look at extreme groups and we say they're behaving really odd, they're acting really strange. But what we don't understand is that within that,
the nerve of Dallas to have that big ass airport. The nerve of Dallas to have that big ass airport. The nerve of Dallas to have me stressed out last year in that big ass airport. Cause I can deal with Atlanta airport. I can deal going up and down and over there. See, I can throw this microphone at this iPad. The nerve of that Dallas airport to stress me out. The nerve of them shuttles to only have 5 seats. The nerve of them shuttles to only have 5. What is y'all doing? Are y'all okay? The nerve of them shuttles to only have 5 seats. I'm over there like, bitch, let me find me a seat. Girl, what restaurant got the shortest line? I can get me a beer real quick. Girl, do I go left, right, up, down, or do I spin in the fucking circle and click my heels? What do I do? Get me back to South Carolina. Oh my God. When I got to Texas from Kansas, I said, bitch, what have I gotten myself into? Like, you think Atlanta airport is something. I don't care what nobody say. Everybody come on, oh, Atlanta airport is so busy, it's so this, it's so that. Girl, I navigated Atlanta quite fine. Texas threw me for a loop. You hear me? A loop.
Environment reinforced by other members in the group and cut off from accurate feedback and external social proof, they rely on what the group sees as real and right. And this can explain some pretty extreme things. Like, for example, in groups where there's very harsh corporal punishment.
I'm gonna find that airport because when I go on trips, I save all my stuff in I have a scrapbook. I'm gonna find that ticket and tell you exactly what airport I was in, Shawnee. I could have burnt that bitch down.
And children have actually, in some of the groups I've dealt with, they have been beaten to death. But no one in the group said anything that observed this because everyone in the group had accepted this as the norm and everyone was reinforcing that belief. And anyone who expressed alternative ideas was basically encouraged to leave, or they were harshly criticized and then they would change their view. So this kind of peer reinforcement or social proof is used by groups to reinforce what the leader wants, no matter how outrageous it may be.
And would you often see physical violence in these groups?
In some of the groups, I have one group, for example, in which I testified, the group leaders encouraged parents to do very harsh corporal punishment of their 2 teenage boys that wanted to leave the group. They were raised in the group, they wanted to leave the group. This happened in upstate New York. And the parents took belts and they began to,
Trigger warning. The next minute and a half might be triggering to you if you experience, a sibling that was murdered or something of that nature. So there's a trigger warning about the next minute and a half. Ghost. Cut it out.
2 boys until they were hospitalized. 1 died. And the parents, I think, sincerely believed that what they were doing was right. And they had no means within the group that they were embedded in of understanding how wrong it all was. And the leaders were not directly participating, but they had influenced the parents to treat their children in this way.
And when folks are in these groups and there is emotional violence or emotional abuse, physical abuse, why do people stay?
because they feel that the leader of the group represents a higher power, a mandate of how they should live, and the leader has expressed this to the group, that the leader has greater knowledge, greater understanding. And so the members of the group may feel that if...
And this is why it's going to be deemed that this is a cult, because Natureboy went from saying that he was Natureboy to calling himself the three God, the Most High. He had these men and these females bowing down on their knees to him. You're going to jail, sir. You're going to jail, sir. Yes, you are.
I disobeyed the leader. I have not only disobeyed that individual, I have disobeyed God. I have disobeyed the higher power. And so they feel that whatever their inner turmoil is, that's their mistake. They are mistaken. Their doubts are failings. They are failing rather than thinking things through in a way that is analytical, in which they could say, well, the leader is asking me to do something wrong, or things are going wrong in this group. Instead, they feel that they are not good enough, that they are not following the directions enough.
And does that also tie into why it may be difficult for them to leave the group?
Yes, I think people find it very difficult to leave because they formed attachments in the group, they have friends in the group, they may have been isolated in the group for years, and they feel that if I leave, I will be cut off. If I leave, I will be shunned. They also feel, after all the sacrifices that they have made, that how can I walk away from that equity that I have in the group? I have an emotional equity in the group. I have given up so much for this group. How can I walk away from it? And the leader of the group typically will say, well, you would be wrong to leave. That would be a failure on your part, and you should not leave.
And in the course of your experience, have you interviewed and spoken with members who have left these groups and then gone back multiple times?
Yes, I have. In particular, what comes to mind are polygamous groups in Arizona, in Texas, in Utah, where people were raised in these groups for a long period of time.
That's an important statement, because I don't look at Natureboy and Carbon Nation as a sex cult. I look at it as a polygamous group that go through a lot of bullshit. But I'm not the expert, child. He is the expert.
Families are in these groups, and they feel that there's no life for them outside. Also, people that have, if you will, they, to some extent, burned their bridges at the urging of the leader or other members of the group. They haven't been in touch with their family for a long time. They haven't been employed for a long time in a career. So they feel that the only sense of identity, the sense of family and purpose that I have is in this group. And so I'm going to go back. And in my experience, they have not unpacked what happened. They tend to blame themselves, feel a great deal of shame, and they feel something's wrong with me. And the only way I can fix it is to go back to the group because the leader has the answers. And so you find people going back to a group that has hurt them, or possibly migrating to another group that's not much better, or even worse, because they have not unpacked their experience and really analyzed it.
And so far, he's doing a really good job articulating his thoughts, getting the jury to understand the very nuanced situations with people who come, go, and fall under the spell of these groups. In the beginning of his qualification, when the prosecution was asking him his education background, he said his highest education was high school. And this right here proves that you can be articulate, you can be smart, you can, hold your own without a degree. He has been carrying on this career in talking about codes and living off of this, and it just proves that sometimes you could, you could run it up and you could become an expert and you could do your thing without that. And so far, I'm liking his testimony. It's very understandable. You can understand and clear, and it makes sense. And I think it'll resonate a lot with the jury. So let's watch some more, and I can't wait for Cross. So far, what do you guys think about the testimony of the expert?
So that's Neek, you guys. Make sure you guys check out Neek at night.
It can in many ways be like an abusive, controlling relationship. You fall in love, there's a honeymoon period, and then the abusive, controlling partner begins to act in a way that is not consistent with how you first perceived them. But you still love them, and you still think, maybe we can get back to that place where it was in the beginning, when everything was great. And I find that's true of people in abusive, controlling relationships and people that are in destructive, authoritarian groups. It's a heartbreak when the leader turns out not to be what you thought, or the partner, the spouse that you married turns out to be an abuser. You want to believe that they can be better. You blame yourself. You take on some of the guilt yourself. If only I could help them, do more for them, they could be the way I wish they would be, or the way they once were, or as I perceive them. And so it's a heartbreaking process, and people are deeply emotionally hurt.
And see, I don't even feel like he be love bombed. I feel like he treat all them bitches like a piece of shit. I feel like he picked the one that he considers to be his top girl. It's like a pimp. It's like a pimp. He got his head bitch. You know, he'll slap her around behind the scenes. Might talk a little slick to her in front of everybody to keep her in line. But he got it's the main chick, then it's all the other hoes underneath her. And then when he feel like playing games, he'll have the head bitch in charge, and one of the other bitches go out on the beach and fight for his amusement. The whole thing it's just a mess. A mess.
By their disappointments in leaders of authoritarian groups very often.
All right, and switching gears a little bit to the thought of cognitive dissonance as it relates to members of these kind of groups. Can you talk about that?
Cognitive dissonance is a basic kind of understanding of how people could stay in a group that makes a prediction or says something that is proven to be totally false or wrong. So, for example, in Festinger's writings, who writes about cognitive dissonance, he talks about a woman who made a prophecy that a spaceship would come and take everybody away because the Earth would be destroyed. And when that event does not occur, he points out that many of the people still remain loyal to the leader anyway. And how does that happen? So he would say, number one, the leader makes a prediction or makes a statement that is proven false. Number two, the person is conflicted by that. What do I do? How do I deal with that? And then the leader offers a spin on how it can be explained. It's a rationalization. You know, the spaceship decided to wait longer. The world will be allowed to remain intact longer until the Galactic Federation has a second vote, or whatever. And because the person is embedded and socially isolated to a large extent in a group, the leader's spin is then reinforced by everyone in the group and accepted. And this is how you can have groups that the end has been predicted many times, and it doesn't happen, and the people are still loyal anyway. Some may drift away, but many will stay because the spin that is provided by the leader and reinforced by followers is accepted.
And can you talk about the healing process for these former members once they ultimately leave the group? What does that look like?
In my experience, the first step is education. What is a destructive authoritarian group? How would I distinguish that kind of a group from another group? Second, what are the techniques of coercive persuasion and thought reform? How could I identify them being used on me? And then third, taking that all together and then through that lens, reappraising your involvement in a particular group. What did the leader do? What were the dynamics of the group? Did the leader ever admit to making mistakes? Did the leader ever admit, I was wrong about this or that, I'm sorry, I apologize? Did the group institute safeguards, checks and balances, so that the leader didn't have absolute power? I mean, what measures have been taken by the group and by the leader to change things so that the group is no longer destructive? And what is it that happened to me in the process of becoming involved and being in this group? How was I manipulated? Was I manipulated? And looking at it through the criterion of thought reform and coercive persuasion. And then finally, probably getting counseling for trauma from a licensed mental health professional that is acquainted with cults and destructive authoritarian groups and can help that person with that knowledge base. And also possibly being involved in a support group where other people that have been through that experience can help each other and say, look, you know, this happened to me as well. And I find that when people recognize that it's not just their group, but that the same process of manipulation and abuse has happened in other groups in the same way, even though they have a completely different belief system, that can be very freeing. Realizing that you're not alone, realizing that this has happened to other people, and that it's not your fault.
Do you find that some of those members have some amount of guilt?
Oh, yes. I think that if you, for example, recruited people when you were in such a group, you would feel guilty about the people you recruited. If you were a parent and you brought children into the group, you would feel guilty about anything bad that happened to them during that time that you were in the group. If you said harsh things to family and friends because they questioned the group or the leader, you would feel regret and guilt about their hurt feelings. And also the leader of the group may have demanded your obedience and even to witness abuse in the group. And you watched it and you did nothing because you were constrained by the undue influence of the leader. And you would feel guilty that, why didn't I stop that? Why didn't I help that person? So there can be a lot of guilt.
And Mr. Ross, are you familiar with carbonation and Eligio Bishop?
Yes.
And when did you first hear about carbonation or Mr. Bishop?
There was a young woman in Canada who moved from Canada to Costa Rica. And she joined a group then called the Ethereans, now known as Carbon Nation. And Eligio Bishop, known as Natureboy, led the group at that time, and the parents of the young woman were very concerned. And eventually she left Costa Rica, returned to Canada, but there was quite a bit of critical press reports about Mr. Bishop, about what he was doing in Costa Rica, and so on. And from that point forward, I began to archive material about Eligio Bishop, the Ethereans, now known as Carbon Nation, within the database of the Cult Education Institute.
And your number one.
All right, we're gonna stop it right there. And we'll pick up either later tonight or tomorrow. Before we get out of here, you guys. That's a good question, Shawnee. Did he do anything inappropriate to any other people and it reported? Or, you know, what's going on? Get your Goldie gummies. So I have the Dreamy Sleep gummies here, as well as the ashwagandha gummies for relaxation. I take both of these at night before getting ready for bed. While I'm getting ready for bed, I take the ashwagandha to relax, wind down, relax. Then once I'm in bed, laying down, I take my Dreamy Sleep gummies, and honey, I be out. So go to Goldie Gummy and use code Blazyn and save 10%. I will also put the link in my community wall. Also, shop my Etsy shop. Not get you pregnant. Is it giving an R. Kelly, Bill Cosby tea? Ready to call the people? Because it shouldn't get you that relaxed. What's going on? But also, shop my Etsy shop. You can use code Shawnee25. Use code Shawnee25, shout out to my moderator Shawnee, and save 25% off when you spend $15, okay? Use code Shawnee25, CHANI25. Why did I say 25? CHANI25 and save 25% off when you spend $15. Don't forget to get your Goldie gummies. Use code Blazyn and save 10% off your purchase. But besides that, you guys, this iPad is on 3%, so I'm gonna get off here before it dies. I can get this video uploaded the correct way. Y'all have a great night. Shout out to my moms. If they're in blue, they're for you. If they're in gray, they just might be okay. Y'all, Trump done won the South Carolina primaries. Nikki Haley, girl, in the name of the Panthers, keep pounding. But Nikki, girl, take that money you got and go on to Kiowa Island and enjoy your mansion. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna play out. But Nikki, you done lost the South Carolina primaries. What you gonna do, sis? Y'all have a good night.